Good afternoon, folks, and I'm back again. This time, despite what my title says currently, we are now flipping bonds with two-year flipper. How are you?
I'm good. Just had to move that for a second and find everything's good. Hope everyone enjoyed I guess today's the official first day of the roll.
Yeah, I guess so. I know you've been talking about it in your stream quite a bit. Maybe you could just talk about what the roll just generally means to you.
Well, I mean, for most locals, and this is kind of like the last of the Mohicans for the pit traders and for all of us, where we can build up money. Not saying we all trade during the year and we make money. I mean, that's why we trade. But it's not like the roll. The treasury rolls are where we can make a significant amount of money. We could do a good month. You could do a good month in a day. During the treasury rolls. I mean, there's probably only 1 or 2 days like that, but I mean, it goes a long way to what you can accomplish as a trader. I mean, this is where it's our bread and butter. And sometimes big orders happen, which we'll get into later, that, it wipes out, it put a severe dent into a lot of traders on this roll already, and the roll hasn't even started yet. For the most part, hasn't really started. So, I mean, and I think everyone knows the treasury rolls. It's just, we have 4 a year. Right now we're rolling out of the June contract. We're rolling into Sep.
Right, and generally, when you say what's the time period for a roll? Is it basically through the end of the week, or?
You know what? This is a funny roll because of Memorial Day. In general, say Memorial Day wasn't there. In general, your 4 busy days of the roll would have been next Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's the bulk of your roll. Not saying like today, the days leading up to the roll, there's not opportunity to make money. But where we're seeing size, where you're seeing like 3, 4, 500,000 contracts roll in a day, like in the 10-year, or like 300,000 roll in the 2-year, or 400,000 roll in the 5-year. Those are the days. You usually get like 4 days in a row of that, 3, 4 days in a row, and because of Memorial Day, it's just kind of funny. Memorial Day is really throwing when does the roll really start? Well, it started in the 2-year today, and it's been starting, but there's been no size on the bid offers. Not like size like you see during the roll. Like, it's pretty commonplace that the 2-year roll is $1 million up. Once we get going, you got 1 million contracts on the bid, 1 million contracts on the offer, and when open interest is only 1.2 million, everyone's overquoting. I mean, that's no different than in the 5-year and the 10-year. Now, the 10-year, you don't see that kind of size in the 10-year because it's entirely possible in the 10-year that even on 2.8 million open interest, that there is somebody that needs to move 400,000 contracts in one crack. And in general, the 10-years don't like to build up above 200,000 because you get to overquoting. If somebody hits the 200,000, well, in the 10s and the 5s, you're going to move a full tick. Versus where it's now worth $7.81 on a quarter tick, you're going to be losing $31.25.
That's real money.
And that's real money when you have like 2, 3, 4,000 on. I mean, if you get tagged on 1,000, you take a full tick on it, you lose 30 grand. Well, or 31,000, and if you have 4,000 on, now you're 120 grand. That ruins rolls. That ruins a lot of things.
Yeah. Can make for a very bad week, bad month, I guess.
Right, and I always say, when I explained last week when I had too much size on that day and I took my quarter tick loss, you don't have that opportunity in the roll. If you have size out there and you're quoting it, and something like this happens, hey, you're not watching it just go like 7 or 8,000 against you. You're watching it go 30, 50, 100. Your instinct is get the bleep out of the trade. Get out of it. And inevitably traders, we've all done it. You get rolled. We're all gonna get out at the worst point, or it might go like a quarter tick where it traded like 100 times. So you go, well, at least I didn't do the low. I sold the tick off the low. Make you feel better. But inevitably it snaps up. And it's easy to say, I have people tell me, well, why don't you just add on when you're down there? I go, hey, you already have X amount on. You're in bad position. You just want me to double the position, just, hey, in general, averages say we come back, yeah. You're just asking to get your, you're asking for double trouble. That's what you're asking for.
I know you've talked about that a number of times on the air and on your Twitter feed about just that basically when you think when it's going against you, your position is your position. You don't double down to bail it out typically, right?
No, I never. I have doubled down, and that was my worst trading day ever, and I'll never ever approach that day again as a trader. But I mean, it's because I doubled down because I challenged the 30-year. I thought I was right on, what started as a 200 lot in the outright 30s, built up to, let's say, north of 1,000 on the outrights, and it moved against me. And and different times. This was back in 05, 06 when you could have that kind of size on, where it was liquid enough. Like, I mean, if you had 1,000 on in the just outright in the bonds now, I couldn't even imagine. You're talking 3 ticks to get out, 3, 4 ticks if you were going to hit it at the market. But back then, when that stuff was going on, it was a minimum 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 up. So when you were adding on positions, it's possible to do that. So, I was talking to a trader who's I think a lot of people follow on Twitter. I'm not going to say his name, but we talk all the time, and I have a lot of guys I text, that I met from Twitter, or big traders, and we were going over a story, and he got hurt on the last roll, on a big hit, and we were just talking, and I've had that experience, where everyone goes, oh, this is going to be the greatest day. You'll learn from this mistake, and we both looked at each other, and we both had the same thought, like, hey, bleep that. I'm not going to say how much he lost, but it was significant. I'd rather have the money in my account and not worry about it. I don't want a lesson. I don't want to hear a lesson like that.
No, that lesson makes for a very, very bad week.
Yeah, and and it's horrible, and it ruins people. And what transpired today in the 2-year put a lot of traders in the hole. So I'll describe it. This morning, the 2-year's been actually very volatile on the roll. We've had a pretty big range on the 2-year spread. I mean, I remember trading up at 10.5 just 2 weeks ago, and I was active. And I think I put out on Twitter, I've been an active buyer in the 2-year on the spread. Every level on the way down, I've been buying. From 9.5 all the way down to 7 in the orders, I've been a buyer. Now, just because I'm buying doesn't mean if it goes again, if I see it's not my edge, I had my biggest position on, pre-roll. I had a huge position on at 9, and I thought they gave me money. I thought it was a huge buying step. I caught the edge. I made the market there. I got out in the June, and I was long the spread from 9, and I thought it was the easiest winner in the world, and it wasn't probably 40 seconds later before I bagged half the position, and it wasn't a good 30 seconds after that where I hit the rest of them, and I actually flipped it, and I was caught on like 80, which isn't a big deal, because I knew I was the market and I knew I was going to get them. But so just because I say I'm actively buying doesn't mean if it goes against me, I will bag the trade if I see I'm losing the edge.
You got your partner there, I see.
Yeah, this is one of the twins, Alexa. Say hi.
Hi, Alexa.
They said hi to you. Okay, you don't want to say hi.
Uh-oh, here comes the other one.
Yeah, Ava's back there somewhere. So there you go. So what? I'll break down what happened in the 2s today, and I'm not gonna know until tomorrow, until I see open interest to see. I see whether today was a malicious order of somebody just out and outright scalping the spread, or if it was actually somebody getting out of a position today. So I'll break it down. This morning it was offered at 8 early in the morning on the spreads. Again? Yeah, give me like 15 more minutes.
Daddy, today can we get that piggy bank?
Sure. Yes, Ava. Yep, when I'm done, I will go see it. So I'll break it down. So what happened was there was an offer at 8 this morning. There was probably about 45,000 on the offer. Everyone was starting to overquote. And I assume everyone knows what overquoting is, meaning like, you know, we all want 500 or 1,000. None of us want 3,000 or 4,000. Yet we're all on there with 3,000 or 4,000, whatever the number is. You know, I mean, come on. I mean, we've talked about this. You don't get 1 million open interest in the 2-year. I mean, you know, on the bids and offers, everyone's overquoting. Shh, sit down. It's okay. I know. So, so what happened was, so then the 8s went. So the 8s are offered like 40, 50,000 times. Somebody goes up and buys 9,000. Now, when this trade transpired, I actually liked being short the 8s, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe they kind of gave me that edge. Just looks good. So as I'm putting my 7 in the orders bid in, it wasn't 2 seconds. As I'm clicking my order in at 7 in the orders for profit, it was 8 bid in my face, and I was like, oh, okay. But I had some on, but it wasn't a devastating amount. It was an amount I knew I could, you know, leg out of, and I'm sure everyone knows what legging is, trying to get the edge in June, and then you give up in SEP, and, you know, you get out. So I wasn't really worried, and they slammed the 8s back, and I was like, well, you know, that was kind of interesting. And then I looked at market position. The 2s were breaking in general. The spread should go up. So I kind of justified maybe you shouldn't have been on the 8 offer then at the time, but hindsight's 20/20. I was on the 8s when they initially lifted it. So the next order now was, I think, and if you go through my stream, I posted 2 pictures of it on my stream. If people go back earlier in the day, somebody came in at, hey, Ava, come on, Ava. Hey, shh. Somebody maliciously at, I want to say it was about 9:20 this morning.
That's Central Time.
Yeah, Central Time. Somebody came in and bought 98,000 in one click. That is what was on the offer in the 2-year at 8 1/4. It went bid. Everyone who's overquoting is now caught short 8 1/4, and it was.
Is this on Maximal?
No, that's not Max's party. But here, I'm almost done, Lex. And immediately 1,500 traded at 8 1/2, and I mean every trader has to puke at that moment. The people who were caught on this trade, and the 8 1/2s proceeded to trade 100,000 times as well, back and forth. Now the 8 in the orders, this would be one, you know, I was explaining earlier, at least I didn't get out the high of the move because we put in 8 in the orders out there today, and it traded like 6 times or something.
What day I'm going to pump it up?
Pump it up, that's in June. His birthday's on June 14th. You got to go ask Mommy. I don't know the exact date.
Yes?
No, that's not it. So somebody came in and bought all these contracts, and I apologize for the interruptions here. Yeah. 5 more minutes. And, I mean, traders got caught on this trade. A lot of traders now, I don't think a lot of traders were overquoting all of their size on this because there's only 100,000 there. But it's malicious in the order as he gave the traders no shot. And, I mean, that's the game that some of these big firms play. They do it in the 10-year. They've done it in the ultra bonds. They did it in the 5-year, the last roll. That's a game, and it makes overquoting a very, very dangerous game. In the 2-year, again, you're talking in the 2-year tick value. You know, the 2-year is worth 15, you know, 15.6250 a tick, versus the other spreads are only worth 781 a tick. So if you take a 2-tick hit in the 10-year, it's just like taking a quarter-tick hit in the 2-year. It's hard not to lose a quarter-tick in the 2-year, if I can explain that right. I mean, in general, if you get tagged, you're probably going to get out at a quarter-tick loss. Whereas that's not true in the 10-year. The 10-year, you're usually going to take, you know, they might slam them down 4 ticks, and you're going to lose an extra quarter-tick. Probably you'll lose 3/4 of a tick. But again, I'm giving you random orders. We've all seen the 10-years. I think the worst run I think it went a full 2 ticks on this one particular order I'm describing that everyone got hit on. Almost. So that's the stuff that happened in the 2-year today. I'm not going to know until tomorrow, until I see open interest figures. If open interest dips by, let's say, 90,000, then it was a roll. That means somebody got out of the June, put it on in the SEP, and they were, you know, and they did it right. They bought the June, sold the SEP, so that means, you know, and I've been saying there's been a huge buyer in the SEP for a while, the last 2 weeks. If our open interest goes up, this was a malicious order and it was a scalp, and I mean, all you can do is really applaud the programmer or whoever did it, because they caught us all. You know, they caught everyone on the trade, and all you can really say is, you know, good job. I mean, we get caught. I mean, it's what we do. Not every trade's a winner. Not every day's a winner.
Yes.
It happens.
Well, is that surprising? So, I mean, it sounds like, if I understand correctly, it sounds like this guy coming in and hitting this all, what, 98,000 contracts?
He bought 98,000 spreads. All the locals were all offered at 8 1/4, and he lifted them all 98,000 times. And the 8 1/2s basically immediately traded out. And at one point, it actually looked like the 8 7s were going to go. And for whatever, you know, they just stopped, and then the 8 1/2s traded back. And a lot of those 8 1/2s probably were this guy selling for profit.
Right. Taking
a quarter tick on massive size.
Yeah, wow. So, I just want to clarify that you said people on the floor kind of got flat-footed a little bit. I mean, this is unusual activity, obviously, right?
This type of order this early is very unusual. Like for instance, if this order would have hit when there was $1 million on the bid or offer, we all would have gotten a lot of fills. We all would have been more than we really wanted, but nobody would have canceled fast enough to where we could have all scratched. There would have been enough floating contracts out there. There would have been another 100,000, because people are actually going to have real orders out there and not just be locals.
Makes sense.
But yeah, this early in the roll, that's one of the biggest orders I've seen, you know, before the roll really starts. If this hit happens next week, it doesn't do any damage to, you know, traders might get caught and we might not have gotten all of them, but we would have gotten out of like 90% of them.
Now, it sounds like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you think this was a scalper. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to know until tomorrow. I'd like to believe it wasn't a scalper, because that's a size order to take that kind of risk. But, you know, I'm not going to know. And, you know, you never know 100% tomorrow, but I can give a good guess by open interest that if we see a significant – because – I'll know a lot because the SEP didn't trade much outright today. Okay. Like the past couple days, SEP has actually traded like 40, 50,000 contracts more than the spread. So if one spread trades, one contract goes to June, one contract goes to SEP, and you see the spread trade. Well, a lot of the times in the 2-year, you'll see, well, wow, 50,000 SEP traded today. No, not really, because 48,000 contracts were executed in the spread. So only 2,000 outrights traded. Understood. Now, if you look at what happened today, I don't think there was a huge, a significant. You know what? I'll bring up my screen at work and I'll tell you what. Let's see. The spread traded 229,000, and SEP traded 263. So about 33,000, which for this kind of activity really isn't. That's not a lot traded, to be honest. Okay. In the SEP, not for 229,000. You would expect more like 60 to 70,000 outright SEP trading. So that didn't happen today. So it's going to be an easier grasp, or, you know, I can look at the sheets tomorrow. I'll be able to tell a little more when I see it, and I'll tweet it out in the morning what I think transpired on it. If the June went up in open interest, then we know it was an outright scalp. If June lost like 40, 50,000 contracts or 60, and SEP went up around the same amount, then we can assume that it was somebody rolling out of the position.
Understood. That makes a hell of a lot of sense. Thanks for educating this idiot. You know, I know you are juggling many balls in the air. Is there anything else you wanted to add today? Because I don't want to keep you. I want to keep you coming.
Yeah, I'll shoot on. Next week will definitely be a no-go because, you know, in general the roll weeks I go right till 4 o'clock. But we can definitely recap maybe at the, you know, the week after we can pick it up. I could recap the roll week. But I mean, I just tell, you know, you got people who do this. I mean, we all know the risks. What's out here? Be careful. I mean, pay attention. I mean, I still think there's money in the set markets if traders know what to do. You know, it's one of those things. Yesterday was actually a very difficult day to scalp the 2-year, but there was somebody leaving sell orders out there in SEP, and you know, if you were aggressive, you were able. There were like 2 or 3 opportunities where one I did an outright scalp, and the other 2 I legged into the spread. And yesterday I was legging 8s, where I sold 8s a decent amount, and I was able to buy them at 7 in the orders yesterday. So sometimes there's opportunities. It's not to press it. I mean, nobody was pressing today. We all saw the same thing. We all saw 100,000 on the offer, and you know that. As traders, we get excited when we see that. You know, that's kind of big for now, and we're probably thinking, hey, this might be a great edge. And that's all we're looking for. We're looking for the edge where we can leg out of it, we can make on the, you know, we can scalp it. There's so many things we get grand ideas. And, you know, towards the end of the day, the pit, they took a swipe at the quarters in the pit with wicked tails for the local. So basically they were banking that some traders kept their 8 quarters and they would all give up the edge there and then put the massive outrights on. But you were giving up a clean quarter tick edge in the outrights as well. So whether you held your, you know, if you held your spreads, you're probably just going to hold the spreads because you were giving up an outright tail. You had to buy 3.5s in June, and they were offered at 3.5, and we ended up going 3/4 sellers. So you would have had to sell a quarter tick loss there. So whether you're going to take your quarter tick loss there or in the spread, it's irrelevant.
Excellent. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming on today. Wish you good luck in the rest of the roll.
I will tweet out you know, what I see, and then yeah, I mean, I try not to tweet. I know I'm not going to be tweet heavy next week, but I'll put it out there when we always get lulls in the market.
Yeah, and what I try to do for people that don't follow you, I typically try to tweet out those important ones, and I just have.
Yeah, you can always put my name with it. I see what you do. I don't mind. I mean, there's specific reasons why I'm, you know, private on that stuff, and I don't let a lot of people come back in and follow me. You know, if people put the request, and I might do it. It's a touchy thing right now, so I've been holding pretty steady at the number I'm at.
That's great. Well, thank you so very much for spending the time with us. I hope you and the family have a great Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy. I hope the weather in Chicago behaves itself.
91, baby.
Sorry?
91. It feels like Nashville.
Well, have fun. Thank you so very much for coming, everybody. Thank you to Flipper, Flippin' Bonds. We will see you in 2 weeks for this show.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks.